Our lesson today is focusing on proportional reasoning, and before we get started solving problems, we're going to take a look at some vocab. So a proportion is just going to be an equation that states two ratios are equal. Now you might have heard the term ratio before, but the definition of it is just a comparison of two quantities measured in different units. So that could be something like 5 miles is equivalent to 1 inch on a map. That could be the scale factor for it. So remember that ratios can be written as A to B, A colon B, or A over B in a fraction. We're mostly going to be seeing our proportions with two ratios set to equal as two fractions set equal to each other. So this is how we're going to be seeing them, and that's what I mean by a proportion. Now specifically we'll have something called a scale drawing or a scale factor. So a scale drawing is just a proportional representation of a space or item that is too large or too small to be drawn or built to actual size. So we're just filling in proportional representation here. So think of it, that could be just a map, it could be a blueprint. A scale factor is going to be a ratio that gives the relationship between the distance on the map or drawing to the actual distance or size. So when I said that 5 miles in real life could actually just be 1 inch on the map, that would be a scale factor. So you could say 1 inch is equal to 5 miles, and that would be a scale factor. Now when we actually solve proportions, they're going to be given to you like this, or you're going to set it up from a problem. And to solve it, we use cross multiplication. So we cross multiply, then we divide. So to cross multiply, we're looking at the top of one fraction and the bottom of another, and we're multiplying them together. So x times 120, we just write as 120x. Our equal sign comes down in the middle, and then we multiply the bottom times the top of the other fraction. So 24 times 75 gets us 1,800. And then this just looks like a one-step equation. 120 is being multiplied by x, so to do the opposite, we just have to divide by 120 on both sides. So x equals 15 in this proportion. Now you can try the next ones if you want and pause it and then check, or you can just listen along. So in the next one, we just cross multiply again. So 2 times x gets us 2x. Equals comes down, 9 times 8 is 72. 2 is being multiplied by x, so we divide by 2 on both sides to get rid of the 2, which gets us x equals 36. Now in our last example, we have x over 9 equals 2 over 3. So x times 3 is our first step, which is just 3x, equals 9 times 2, which is 18. X is being multiplied by 3, so we divide by 3 on both sides, and x equals 6 becomes our final answer here. So just cross multiply your values and then divide to get your variable by itself. Now we have a few word problem examples down below. So when we do these, we want to look for similar units. So the first one says the ratio of teachers to students at a middle school is 2 to 45. There are 900 students at the school. How many teachers are in the school? So I would first suggest looking for all of where we see teachers. So teachers here is going to mean 2, and then we don't know how many teachers. So that's going to be our how much or how many, that's going to be our x. And then our other value is students. So students is 45. And we also know it's 900. So that can help us set up our proportion. So we have teachers to students. So we make a fraction, and that's how we're going to set up all of these fractions. So teachers to students is 2 to 45. And then the other information that they give us is how many teachers to 900 students. So how many means x, we don't know, to 900. So then you can see that our teachers and our students line up. So all of our teachers are on top of our fractions, and all of our students are on the bottom of our fractions. So we have all yellow on top, all blue on the bottom. Once we have that set up, then we can just solve it like we did above. So we cross multiply. 2 times 900 gets us 1800, and then 45 times x gets us 45x. I'm just going to rewrite it over here for us to do the work. 45x just means 45 times x, so to get x by itself we divide by 45 on both sides, and that gets us 40 equals x as our final answer, which would mean we're talking about 40 teachers. So the final answer for this question would be 40 teachers. Now if you want to pause the video and try the second one on your own, go ahead. If not, you can just keep listening. So the second one says John was able to drive his car 420 miles on 24 gallons of gas. At this rate, how many miles did he drive using 13 gallons of gasoline? So again, let's highlight what we're talking about. We have miles and we have gallons. So the two places we see miles is 420 miles and then how many miles. The other unit that we have here is gallons, so 24 gallons and then 13 gallons. So we can do miles over gallons, and if we do that, then we can set up our two fractions. So 420 miles can go on top, and that was paired with 24 gallons. The other fraction we know is how many miles to 13 gallons, so that miles goes on top, that's our x, and 13 goes on the bottom for our gallons. So if you want to check to make sure that's all lined up, we have miles on top, 420, and then how many, and on the bottom we have gallons, 24 gallons and 13 gallons. Now to solve, all we have to do is cross multiply. So 420 times 13 is going to get us 5,460 equals 24 times x, which is 24x. To solve for x, we divide by 24 on both sides, and x equals 227.5. And our units here were miles, that's what we were solving for, so on 13 gallons of gas, this means you could go 227.5 miles.